Candidates for degrees, families, and friends, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 99th commencement of the University of Connecticut School of Law. I am Paul Chill, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and a member of the faculty here at the law school. It is my privilege to serve as Chief Marshal today. It is my job to ensure that we have a memorable, enjoyable, and last but not least, orderly ceremony today. In a moment, I will have several housekeeping announcements to that end. But first, I want to acknowledge the special significance of this ceremony, the first to be held on our magnificent campus in 3 years. Those of you who began in August 2018 or 2019 and who will receive your JD degree today, subject, of course, to the timely completion of all academic requirements, scarcely could have imagined that your matriculation, let alone your very lives and those of your families and friends, would be disrupted and dominated by an unfolding tragedy of world historical dimension. And those of you who will receive your LLM degree today managed to begin and complete your studies in the midst of the pandemic. All of you have endured and overcome truly unprecedented challenges in your journey to your seat beneath this tent today. And so, UConn Law Class of 2022, I salute you. Now for the housekeeping announcements. First, please note that live captions of the ceremony are available online at the web address posted on signs around the perimeter of the tent. The university has switched to a fully electronic commencement program for 2022. QR codes are posted around the tent to access this year's program. Second, in accordance with the orders of the State Fire Marshal, I ask that you remain at your seat and clear of the aisles throughout the ceremony. We will have professionals taking photos and videos of all the graduates as they process across the stage, and again at the side of the tent, where a formal portrait will be taken. So again, please remain at your seat and keep the State Fire Marshal happy. Third, we have a designated smoking area to the rear of the tent, and we ask that you use that area if needed. Finally, please take a moment now to ensure that when that cell phone starts ringing somewhere in the audience and its owner fumbles to silence it and people start turning their heads to see who the offender is, they are not looking at you. Your cooperation will be very much appreciated. Will the class of 2022 vocalist, Carlene Libby Felix, please come to the podium? And will the audience please rise and join in singing the national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Will the audience please be seated? Thank you, Carlene. We are graced by the presence of many distinguished guests this morning. I would like to introduce and welcome those seated with me on the platform. In the back row from your left are Ms. Mary Beatty, Assistant Clinical Professor of Law and Director of Academic Support. Mr. Thomas D. Ritter, class of 1977, a member of the University of Connecticut Board of Trustees. Dr. Andrea Dennis Levine, DVM, Vice Chair and Secretary of the University of Connecticut Board of Trustees. Dr. Sanford Cloud, Jr., a member of the University of Connecticut Board of Trustees and Chair of the UConn Health Board of Directors. Ms. Lisa Dar Rodino, Executive Director of Academic Affairs and Registrar for the School of Law. It happens every year. And Mr. Robert L. Birmingham, Professor of Law and Mace Bearer. In the front row, from your left, Ms. Jennifer Maley, Associate Dean for Experiential Education, Clinical Professor of Law, Field Placement Program Director, and Law Marshal. Dr. Radenka Marek, Interim President of the University of Connecticut. Ms. Ebony S. Nelson, Dean of the University of Connecticut School of Law. Mr. Joel Motley, Chairman Emeritus of the Board of Human Rights Watch, member of the Council on Foreign Relations, and son of Judge Constance Baker Motley. And Mr. Daniel D. Toscano, Chair of the University of Connecticut Board of Trustees. It is now my honor to invite Dean Nelson to the podium for opening remarks.
Thank you, Dean Chill. Chairman Toscano and members of the Board of Trustees, President Merrick, Mr. Motley, members of the judiciary, family members, and friends. On behalf of our students, staff, faculty, and alumni, it is my honor and pleasure to welcome you to the 99th commencement of the University of Connecticut School of Law. I extend a special welcome and heartfelt congratulations to the class of 2022. Today is a momentous occasion as we celebrate the completion of your law degree program, and I'm so happy that we're able to gather again in person on our beautiful campus for this special day. It is a day for celebration not only for you, but also for your parents, siblings, family members, spouses, partners, children, and friends. So please join me in thanking and applauding them for the support and encouragement they have provided to you to help you arrive at this moment. We are also greatly appreciative of our dedicated staff and faculty who have educated, guided, assisted, and encouraged you throughout your law school career, especially our beloved and sorely missed friend and colleague, Professor Richard Parker, whom we remember at this commencement. I ask that you please join me in a moment of silence in honor of Professor Parker. Thank you. Graduates, Professor Parker and all faculty and staff have invested in you, your success, and the success of this great law school. So please join me in thanking them for their incredible hard work on your behalf. I stand here today in awe of each of you as I think about the fortitude you have demonstrated and all that you have accomplished during your law school career, especially over the past 2 years. You have encountered many obstacles while on your journey to achieve your degree. Perhaps it was self-doubt, as little seemed to make sense in your first semester, or even last semester for that matter. Or maybe it was a hearing that didn't go your client's way. For some, it may have been the culture shock of studying law in a new country or in a new language. Despite the obstacles, you overcame them all and accomplished great things along the way. Since entering UConn Law, your class has positively impacted countless members of our community, both inside and outside our institution. You have served as admissions ambassadors to help encourage prospective students to attend our great law school. You have helped asylum seekers seek to avoid a life of persecution, abuse, and torture. You have advocated for the protection of children, veterans, animals, and the environment. You have edited and published journal articles that informed our thinking on some of the most pressing legal issues of the day. You have honed your advocacy and dispute resolution skills while raising the school's profile by your outstanding performance on moot court, mock trial, and negotiation teams. You have organized conferences and symposia exploring important topics, including prosecutorial discretion and mass incarceration, the lasting impact of the Tulsa race massacre, and global implications of COVID-19 and vaccinations. You have organized and participated in impactful service benefiting the people of Ukraine, survivors of domestic violence, and members of our Hartford community. You have partnered with the Connecticut Bar Association to help close the access to justice gap by assisting community members with their legal questions and helping them avoid eviction. You have spent hundreds of hours volunteering with community organizations, mentoring local middle and high school students, and inspiring them to believe that one day they too can attend and graduate from law school. You have raised thousands of dollars to support student organizations and public interest fellowships, and your leadership in student organizations has helped to bring our community together and to raise our consciousness about the importance of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging here at UConn Law and beyond. And as a class, you've managed to do all of this during a global pandemic at a time of racial reckoning while working full or part-time, taking care of children and loved ones, and supporting each other every step of the way. These accomplishments and acts of service demonstrate your commitment to being part of a profession that at its core is about serving others in the pursuit of justice. And with the challenges facing our country and our world today, the legal profession needs you now more than ever. With the knowledge and skills that you have developed during law school, you are well prepared to solve the most difficult and complex problems of our time. You will be the voice for those whose voices have been silenced, ignored, or discounted. As you do, you will advance the fulfillment of our country's promise that everyone is afforded equal protection of the laws. You will advise and lead businesses that strengthen our connections to global citizens. If we have learned nothing over the past 2 years, we have learned how interconnected we are to people and countries throughout the world. As you all work to preserve the rule of law and to protect human rights, both within and outside our borders, I ask that you remember that the law can be both a helpmate and a hindrance in those endeavors. It can be both a tool to advance justice and a tool to thwart it, a tool to dismantle systemic oppression and a tool to maintain it. So I ask that you use this invaluable tool wisely. The expectations we have for all of you are quite high, and you may be wondering, am I ready? Can I do this? Rest assured that the answer to both of those questions is a resounding yes. You are ready and you will succeed. This is what you have been trained to do, and in many ways, this is what you have already been doing throughout your time in law school. So be confident in the knowledge and abilities you have developed during your law school career, and carry that confidence into the courtrooms as advocates and judges, and into the worlds of business and government as counselors and policymakers, and to the front lines of the endless and endlessly rewarding battle for a more just and equitable world. As you embark on and further your legal careers, always remember that you are not only advocates for justice, but you are guardians of justice. So please guard it well. Thank you for choosing UConn Law to pursue your legal studies. It has been an honor to have each of you as part of our law school community, and I cannot thank you enough for all the ways in which you have enriched it. Congratulations, class of 2022. We look forward to seeing the great contributions you will make throughout your careers. Thank you. It is now my great honor to introduce our featured speaker, Mr. Joel Motley, whose long service in the cause of human rights, justice, and equity was first inspired by the shining example of his mother, civil rights leader Judge Constance Baker Motley, who was the first Black woman to become a federal judge, thereby blazing the trail for Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first Black woman to be confirmed to the United States Supreme Court. Mr. Motley has served as chairman of the board of the Human Rights Watch, as a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, as a member of the Pulitzer Center for Crisis Reporting, and as secretary of the board for the Greenwall Foundation. After graduating from Harvard College and Harvard Law School, his career included practicing corporate law at Simpson Thacher and Bartlett in New York City, serving as an aide to New York Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan, and co-founding Carmona Motley Incorporated, an investment banking firm. His many contributions to his mother's legacy include co-producing a short film entitled The Trials of Constance Baker Motley, honoring her leadership in school desegregation. We are very fortunate to have Mr. Motley with us today, and I'm delighted to welcome him to our commencement. Mr. Motley.
Thank you very much, Dean Nelson, for that lovely introduction and for the opportunity to share this incredible day with the students and their families. My remarks, of course, will be directed straight at the students. I will try to speak to you as honestly as I can remembering particularly 44 years ago when I sat where you're sitting now. And I think the most overwhelming memory was the sense of survival. Think of how many times it wasn't clear that you might survive. And then this day arrives and somehow it all happens. Another thing to say, in all honesty, is that I really didn't have a clear idea of why I was going to law school. I mean, obviously my mother had some influence there, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I didn't want to be a litigator. And let me also let you in on a little secret of the legal profession, if I might. There is a massive disclosure failure between law practitioners and law schools. And it goes like this. If you were medical students, you would have entered this medical school knowing full well that after 4 years of medical school, you'd spend a year as an intern, 3 years as a resident, and only then would anybody take you seriously. But the same is true in the law. They just don't say anything about it. And maybe it's an object lesson in what disclosure means and how important it is for people to organize their lives. But I think you'll find that the training process that comes after these 3 years is very, very demanding. Again, you'll have a lot of sleepless nights like you've had here. It's excruciating in a way. But when it's done after those 3 years, you really will be able to help people. You will have absorbed important lessons and skills that you will be able to implement reflexively, even if you haven't slept. No matter how much harassment your adversaries have given you, you will be able to carry these things out because you've absorbed that training. I think one of the most important lessons I was taught by one of the corporate partners at Simpson Thacher, who I worked for, was that you should try to gather as much knowledge as you can about as many different things as you can, as quickly as you can. And the reason for that is you never know when you're going to leave the firm, Simpson Thacher. You never know when you're going to leave the ACLU or the Housing Authority or whatever it is you're undertaking this initial training. When you leave, you're going to walk out with a toolkit, the doctor's black bag, if you will, and you want to have that filled with as much knowledge and tricks of the trade as you possibly can. Some of my classmates skipped that whole training process. They went directly into investment banking, they went directly into politics and so forth, and they were very successful. I was neither that ambitious or courageous, so I went along with the program and did 5 years of corporate law practice, from which I was rescued by Daniel Patrick Moynihan, as a result of which I will die in his debt. I ran his New York City office for a couple of years, and that brought me into a three-dimensional world. I guess another thing to tip you off about is you may not escape the profession if you have ambitions to do that. You may stay in it and be happy and have a great career, but if you want to get out, getting out is harder than it seems. I was lucky that Senator came in and pulled me up, but that doesn't always happen. So after working for Senator Moynihan for a couple of years, I went into public finance, and the bulk of my professional career was as an investment banker in public finance. I knew nothing about public finance when I started. I knew that roads and bridges and airports and sewers had to be paid for somehow, but I didn't know how that happened. I didn't have an MBA. People said to me, well, how did you get into business if you didn't have an MBA? I said, I bought a calculator. And that, helped. But when I got into the business world, I discovered fairly soon that if you were working on a financing, a big bond issue or a corporate merger or something like that, as a banker, a lawyer could ruin your day and say something like, well, we can't issue the bonds in that form because we'd have to amend the trust indenture, and that would take 2 weeks. I said, no, it won't. Then I'll draft it. And then we'll meet tomorrow and we'll proceed. So having the experience of being a lawyer makes you able to deal with lawyers in the business world who will be, some of them trying to help you and some of them trying to derail you. My mother never really could understand why anyone who had a brain would not become a lawyer. Just flat out, you know, it was, in her mind, it was really the only thing to do. But she didn't know much about corporate law. She didn't practice corporate law. And as I got started, I was amazed at how many things I had to find out that she wasn't going to be able to tip me off about. And then I knew there was always some disappointment on her part that I had left the profession. So after I started at Lazard Frere for 7 years, I learned the trade there, and then I had my own firm, Carmona Motley, for a bunch of years. And after I'd done my first fairly large bond issue for the Cleveland water system, I bought one of those tombstone ads. You probably don't read the printed paper anymore, but in the Wall Street Journal, that you could buy an ad that would put the par amount of the bonds and who was the financial advisor and so forth, and it said Carmona Motley. And I took that over to her chambers one day and showed her this. You know, it was a pretty big bond issue. And she looked at it and said, oh, I see. So it started to sort of to gel a little bit. She still never really forgave me, but so I'd like to wrap up my thoughts with something that has to do with the rule of law. We hear a lot about rule of law. The dean mentioned it. Every time you pick up the paper these days, whether you're on the whatever side of this political spectrum you're on, you're talking about the rule of law and what does that mean. So I don't have a complete answer, but I have an episode from my mother's career that brings to mind quite sharply what it can take at times to preserve the rule of law. And the story is this. My mother worked on the many cases, school desegregation cases, all the big university desegregation cases, and that included University of Mississippi, where she represented James Meredith, who was the first black person to attend University of Mississippi. And that litigation took 2 years. That's a long time for any case. And finally, the Fifth Circuit, after many rulings, issued a ruling that said that Meredith had to be admitted. The state of Mississippi took it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court refused to hear it. And so when they were getting ready to take Meredith to register, there was a lot of anxiety about violence on the campus because the resistance was massive. And Bobby Kennedy was the Attorney General, Jack Kennedy was the president, and they talked to Governor Ross Barnett of Mississippi about getting Meredith to register, and Barnett told him it would be okay. There would be state troopers and state police, and everything would be fine. Well, the federal marshals, 3 or 4 of them took Meredith to register. Got to Oxford, Mississippi to register him. There were no police, no state police, no protection. There was a riot. 3 people died in the riot. The marshals were just barely able to get Meredith to safety, so he wasn't killed. And the Kennedys realized that the governor had basically lied to them, had just stiffed them. The Kennedys also realized that they had only one chance to get this right, to get it fixed. My mother used to refer to the Meredith case as the last battle of the Civil War, and I thought she was just being sort of, it was just a metaphor. But what the Kennedys did after the riot was they sent 15,000 United States Army troops to Oxford, Mississippi. It has a population of maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people. Overwhelming force, because they knew they couldn't just send 30 federal marshals and try to get it done and have another riot. And when I was making the film about my mother, at that time I happened to see on ESPN College a documentary made about the Meredith case from the perspective of the football team, and that's another story I'll tell you another time. But in that film, there was footage of the 15,000 soldiers billeted on the campus in rows of tents. And I don't know if you're familiar with Matthew Brady's photographs from the Civil War, but it looks exactly like that, rows and rows of tents for this overwhelming force to make sure that the authority of the federal government, the authority of the federal courts, would be honored. That's what it took. So you've got great times ahead, but remember that some of the things you'll be dealing with will be very, very demanding, very, very difficult, very, very unpredictable. But I am thrilled for you, as your families are, and as the dean said, you're going to make it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Motley, for your inspiring remarks. And on behalf of all of us who are here today because of Judge Motley's advocacy for equal educational opportunities for all students, I thank you for your and your family's steadfast commitment to equity and justice.
We will now begin the awarding of degrees, beginning with the Master of Laws degree. As a reminder, members of the audience are requested to remain in their seats so the candidates are able to move freely in the aisles. Professional photos and video are being taken of our graduates. We ask that you please hold your applause until all of the candidates for the Master of Laws degree have received their diplomas from Dean Nelson and President Marek. Will Associate Dean Jennifer Maley come forward to the other podium, and will the Hooding Marshals, Professor Darcy Kirk and Associate Dean Richard Wilson, please come stand to her left? Will Dean Nelson and President Marek please stand to my left?
Arthur Lefebvre. Arthur is being hooded by his parents. Matthew Lefebvre and Regina Wexler. Patricia Carvalho. John Joseph Newman. David Osa from Germany. Philip States from Germany. Lupita Amaro Jimenez from Colombia. Oriana Araque Bueno from Venezuela. Amene Bechner from Germany. Hello. Daniel Barry. Naifa Al-Nasi from Saudi Arabia. Thank you. Paulita Ampaidu, hooded by their spouse Elvis Ampaidu of the class of 2020. Julia Johnson Brinson. Catherine Hoosh Shirley. Ishmael Mohammed from Germany. Aisha Al-Zabi from the United Arab Emirates. Paloma Lopes Bontempo Peña. Where are you from Brazil. Dariela Garcia from Brazil. Colombia. Ikhtiar Usenov from Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan. Thank you. Anastasia Imedidze from Ukraine. Sophia Keck from Germany. Sophia Keck. Marie Elizabeth Lenz from Germany. Tianhao Li from China. Chiara Mati from Albania. Jan Mikic from Germany. Nagina Nawaz from Pakistan. Manon Pellegrin from Belgium. Anne-Sophie Pijnacker from the Netherlands. Christina Karama from Albania. Lydia Russell from the United Kingdom. Anastasia Suvorova.
We will now award the Juris Doctor degrees.
Jessica Faye Thomas. Liliana Marie Bacheski, who will be hooded by her parent, aunt, Diane Duhame, class of '92. Carlene Felix. Radhika Carton. Lindsay Alfano. Julia Audebert. Emma Avery. Saman Azimi. Daniel Robert Barrick. Morgan Lee Barroso. Jeff Beck. Olivia Lee Benson. Mark Bernatchez. Priyal Bhargav. Abigail Bicknell. Sarah Bigman. Abby Booth. Joan Bosma. Alexandra Bostic. James Broderick. Amy Brown. Megan Buckley. Megan will be hooded by her father, John F. Buckley, Jr. of the class of 1984. Christian Burr. Giacomo Cabrera. Thomas Carissime. Sarah Cherfen. Ryan Coleman. Joseph Richard Conti III. Patrick Conway. Colin Sanderson Cowdery. Victoria Rose Damore. Isabella DeLisi. Samir Raif Dervisi. Sharmi Dhaliwal. Taylor DiCello. Sarah Dobson. Patrick Dudley. James Jake Dunigan. Robert Egan. Gregory Scott Estabrooks. Emilio Alejandro Estrella Terron. Leona Finn. Caitlin Fitzgerald. Mariah Fleming, hooded by her husband, Nathaniel Fleming, of the class of 2019. Matthew Fratomico. Devin Hart Frey. Patty Garwood. Sydney Gear. Nathan Genest. Amir Glover. Margaret Ann Goggins. Grant Gorley. Brayson Grant. Margaret Ellen Green. Anand Gupta. Juan Gutierrez. James Hamilton. Gulrukh Haroon, who will be hooded by her sister Scheherazade Haroon, class of 2019. Lindsay Hyman. Haiti Hernandez Jimenez. Erin Howard. Victoria Elizabeth James. Angelica Matos. Jennings. Richard Philip Joslin. Yvonne Kang. Emily Marie Carr. Marla Katz. Cassandra Marie Kellogg. Richard Kirby. Francine Leah Klarsfeld. Emily Clowder. Yes. Ray Laguerre. Michael Anthony Lanza. Victoria Larson. Samuel Robert Lawrencell. Brendan Liberati. Shanshin Liu. Sierra Lofstrom. John Ludke. Zachary Tyler Massa. Kendra Kerman McGuire. Allison McCorney. Catherine Elizabeth McKeon. Alexander Mercier. Devin Michaelis. Lydia Marie Michaels. James Mihalchik. Jared Mikulski. Emma Morelli. Emma will be hooded by her father, Honorable Stephen Morelli of the class of 1986. Anna Marie Morrow. Emily Nastri. Emily will be hooded by her mother, Kathleen Nastri, of the class of 1986, and her father, Robert Nastri, Jr., of the class of 1985. Kaylee Navarra. Grady Nilsson. Andrea Nunes. Mary Agnes O'Connor. Margaret O'Neill. Danielle Palmieri. Sir-Young Park. Olivia Perry. Caitlin Pesavento. Olivia Rose Pesh. Zachary Ethan Peters. Allison Presskreischer. Darcy. Henry Pirtle, hooded by his father, George Pirtle, of the class of 1984, and his mother, Sharon Pirtle, of the class of 1983. Anna Rendell Baker. Luke Reynolds. Jacob Riley. Ellen Roberts. Shane Russell. Matthew Sacco. Karina Salazar. Natalie Soloyo. Elijah Seltzer. Shrithi Shah. Tess Shaw. Zachary Kirkin Sapaula. Justine St. Louis. Isabel Claire Taboada. Jeffrey Temple. Samuel Hayward Turhar. Nicole Teresi. Haley Tingstad. Emily Summer Tack. Jessica Lee Topper. Srikant Babu Tumala. Jonathan Vasquez. Anna Elizabeth Bishop Villard Howe. Cole von Richthofen. Allison Jane Walker. Jaeshuan Wong. Hannah Webb. William J. Weishaupt. Matthew White. Abigail Willauer. Amanda Weiner. Amanda will be hooded by her father, Jeffrey Scott Weiner, of the class of 1983. Colin Wren. Sarah Wiley. Kay Yen. Jeffrey Young. Wojtek Zach. And Adam Zwick.
Guess what? You're going to have a chance to do that again in a couple of minutes. It's a pleasure to announce that the following Juris Doctor candidates have participated in a dual degree program: William Moran and Robert Egan. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws and the degree of Juris Doctor please rise? Dean Nelson and Law Marshal Maley will now present the candidates.
Dean Nelson, I have the honor to present to you these candidates for the rank of Master of Laws who have successfully completed the curriculum of the School of Law.
To you who have made significant progress in learning and giving promise of further achievement, I declare that you are entitled to the ancient rank of Master with all the appropriate rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
Dean Nelson, I have the honor to present to you these candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor who have successfully completed the curriculum of the School of Law.
To you who have made significant progress in the study of law and give promise of achievement in the profession of law, I declare that you shall be entitled, in accordance with the procedures of the university, to the degree of Juris Doctor with all the appropriate rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto.
I invite President Merrick to the podium to confer the degrees.
By virtue of authority vested in me by trustees of University of Connecticut, and in accordance with the procedures and regulations of the university, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Laws or Juris Doctor for which you have been presented at this commencement of the School of Law. To those students who have today been presented for degrees, I extend congratulations of the faculty, trustees, and officers of administration. I ask to discharge the responsibilities of new statutes and to enlarge upon the foundation of the knowledge which you acquire. Graduates, please be seated.
Now that we've had the conferral of degrees, let's congratulate the graduates one more time. It is now my honor to present the Perry Zirkle 76 Distinguished Teaching Award. Thanks to Dr. Zirkle's generosity, this is the 7th year we have given an endowed award for a transformational teacher of law. You, our graduating students, voted to identify the teacher who enables you to master complex issues, inspires and makes the classroom come alive, and engages with all students and is prepared and organized. Voting from a slate of 4 outstanding teachers, you selected Mary Beatty, Assistant Clinical Professor of Law and Director of Academic Support, as this year's recipient of the Perry Zirkle 76 Distinguished Teaching Award. Congratulations, Professor Beatty.
Marie Lenz of the class of 2022 will deliver remarks on behalf of the Master of Laws graduates.
Thank you. Dear fellow graduates, students, parents, faculty, and friends, it's an honor to speak to you today at the end of our journey together. I guess all of us had different expectations and goals before beginning our individual LLM programs at UConn Law. I still remember getting into that squeaky yellow school bus in orientation week, slightly concerned if it would really get us to a destination. But I also remember all of us being enthusiastic to meet each other and learn from each other in an immensely welcoming and warm environment. Together, we spent countless hours in debating, studying, worrying, but we also planned trips together, celebrated our success, and lost our minds over endless case studies in the library till midnight. And today, all of us are richer. We are richer in experiences, richer in our knowledge about diverse cultures, and definitely richer in how to finish an assignment overnight. In our little international family, we welcome people from the US, Gabon, Ghana, Ukraine, China, Albania, Russia, Venezuela, UAE, Korea, Saudi Arabia, Belgium, England, Brazil, Azerbaijan, Pakistan, Colombia, the Netherlands, and by God, many Germans. The LLM program did not just equip us with the academic tools to pursue our further legal careers, but also opened the doors for us in many different ways. We have one graduate that changed from exchange to LLM and is now completing the OPT program. Other graduates are starting their legal career in the US with the LLM and are ready to work here. We have graduates fulfilling the requirements for the LLM, but going back to finish their bachelor's degree, and graduates that took a year to broaden their academic skill set. With that in mind, I want to take this opportunity to point out what a privilege all of us got to experience here at UConn Law, public Ivy League, for as much education is still a privilege. All of us come from different backgrounds and different situations, but we all worked our way towards this graduation. And with that, it is also our responsibility to help those who are not as fortunate as us. As future elites in the legal profession, we will have the power to address injustice. We will have the power to act on injustice, and we will have the power to change what we perceive as unfair to the better. With that being said, I also want to take this opportunity to thank everyone present today, fellow graduates, friends, professors, our international advisors, for making this experience special and supporting us in every way possible. From this day on, we will go our separate ways, but we will still remember this time as special and honor and maintain the unique connections we made in our course of study. Congratulations, class of 2022. You've earned it.
Taylor DiCello of the class of 2022 will deliver remarks on behalf of the Juris Doctor graduates in the evening division.
Dean Nelson, Mr. Motley, staff, faculty, family, and friends. It's my privilege to stand up here today as a representative of the UConn Law Evening Division, class of 2022. Every year in the United States, only about 350 students graduate with degrees in astrophysics. 7,000 students graduate with degrees in aerospace engineering. And more than 35,000 students graduate from law school every year. So when commencement is over, be sure to congratulate your graduate for being unremarkable. To the parents in the crowd, don't worry. We're not nearly as insignificant as the more than 200,000 MBA recipients this year. As commonplace as having a Juris Doctor may seem in numbers, in all seriousness, what we've achieved as law students the past 4 years is nothing short of extraordinary. Evening students spent the last 4 years going to work during the day, going to class at night, and somehow finding the time in between to read thousands of pages and outline hundreds of cases. On top of our seemingly never-ending responsibilities, it's been a trying time in America and in the world, but a fortuitous time to be in law school. We learned the fundamental principles of the law in parallel with one of the most tumultuous times in American history. We studied the bedrock principles of constitutional law in Professor McDougald's class while President Donald Trump was being impeached in Washington. As the United States was pulling out of Afghanistan, we were settling into our seats in Chase Hall for human rights law. The killing of George Floyd sparked massive protests and shone new light to the racial injustice embedded in our laws. And it reminded us there's much more work to be done. And that's not to mention the ways in which the COVID-19 pandemic affected our legal landscape and understanding of public health. Over the last 4 years, we've also lost some of the greatest legal minds of our time. Representative John Lewis, a civil rights leader who received an honorary degree here at UConn Law in 2012. And Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, whose legal advocacy and opinions from the bench forever altered our justice system and provided opportunity for classroom debate. The Supreme Court made landmark decisions in extending the 1964 Civil Rights Act to protect LGBTQ+ employees and upholding the deferred action for childhood arrival. As we stand here today, an overturning of Roe v. Wade is more likely than ever. The events that unfolded these past 4 years impacted the legal world and our everyday lives. They served as constant reminders that when we leave this campus as lawyers, we too will have the chance to make our mark on the justice system. This 2022 graduating class follows a long line of UConn Law graduates who are senators, professors, CEOs, journalists, and judges, one of whom is here today celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Judge Bob Nashry. Each of these alumni make decisions every day that impact our lives, whether it makes the news or not. Our legal training at UConn Law masterfully prepared us to join them. To the parents, spouses, friends, and children, thank you for your support today and for the last 4 years of late nights, early mornings, and final exams. To my dad, my sisters, my grandparents, the small decisions that you've made in raising me and growing up with me have made me the person I am, and I wouldn't be here without you, so thank you for everything. And to the class of 2022, we may be just one of 35,000 new lawyers this year, but with our law degree, we have the opportunity to continue to be exceptional in our chosen legal fields. To Olivia Benson and Jess Topper, who have already completed the February bar exam, congratulations. To the rest of us, good luck on the bar exam and congratulations.
Morgan Barroso of the class of 2022 will deliver remarks on behalf of the Juris Doctor graduates of the Day Division.
I made it up here without tripping, so that's my first victory of the day. A warm and heartfelt welcome to all the deans, faculty, distinguished guests, family, those watching online, and to all the people who were dragged here against their will and have been here since 9 o'clock this morning. Thank you all for coming. While writing this speech, I was told to make sure to get my thank yous in. Thank you to the professors who answered all of my questions, mentored me, and went above and beyond in providing me guidance. Thank you to my parents. You've provided invaluable support throughout this journey. And after listening to me drone on about case law and research for the last 3 years, this JD is just as much yours as it is mine. And while I'm at it, I would like to say my apologies. Everybody warns you when you go to law school that you're going to have so much work. Check. You are going to have so much debt, double check. And you're going to have no life, which is completely correct. What nobody tells you is that law school makes you completely obnoxious. I'm sure that some of us came this way. The kid on the first day of orientation who started out playing devil's advocate, he definitely came that way. But I don't think that that was the rest of us, and I have no idea when it happened. One minute, I'm carefree. I had this thing called a weekend. I talked with friends who were not law students about nothing. And the next minute, I'm home for Christmas, unironically using sine qua non in casual dinner time conversation about ingredients for stuffing. And in case you're wondering, it's fresh rosemary. Fresh rosemary is sine qua non for stuffing. And yes, because you're wondering, I did hate myself immediately after the words came out of my mouth. And I am so sorry, because I do think that law school did that to me. I'm sorry to my boyfriend, Zach, because you're never going to win an argument again. Being right all the time is a blessing and a curse, let me tell you. And I'm sorry to my roommates, Lindsay and Maggie, for having to deal with both ends of my stress spectrum, both my Zen yoga practice, as well as my neurotic color-coded day planner and highlighter system. I am not sorry for starting the book stand trend 1L year. Your necks are welcome. I am sorry for becoming so boring. I know that my parents really didn't want to hear about the creditor protections and business organizations. That was a rough unit for them, and that was very hard on me too. I'm sorry to my friends who will forever have their problems analyzed like an issue spotter on an exam, especially when they don't ask for it. I'm not sorry for my recommendation that you seek out a real estate attorney, because that was really good advice. But again, I am not yet licensed under any state bar. That does not count as legal advice, and I am not your attorney. For worse or for the better, law school did this to us. I like to think it's for the better. Yes, we may be obnoxious. Yes, we may never be able to watch a Shonda Rhimes courtroom drama again without throwing the remote at the TV for an overwhelming number of inaccuracies. But we do have 3 years of memories that will last us a lifetime. Memories of highs and lows, stress hives and happy tears, nights at the half door and days at the library, countless, Professor, you're muted over WebEx, and even more hours in the classroom. We've overcome countless tests and hurdles, and I could not be prouder to have accomplished it with you all. I know this group of students will do amazing things, and I really hope you didn't think I was going to let you get away without an inspirational quote. So, as Gandhi says, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. And I know it, you guys are going to be big, big change. Now, if you excuse me, I have been waiting for my Elle Woods moment for 3 very long years. So congratulations, class of 2022. We did it!
Thank you, graduates and comedians, for those moving remarks. It is now my pleasure to introduce James Rule, a member of the class of 1999 and the president of the University of Connecticut Law School Alumni Association. Attorney Rule is a co-founding partner of Rule, Burns and Britt, LLC, and a James W. Cooper Fellow of the Connecticut Bar Foundation. He has served on the University of Connecticut Law School Alumni Association since 2016 and assists the Connecticut Community Law Center as a mentor to lawyers starting out in private practice. The UConn School of Law is grateful for his generous support, and I'm extremely pleased to welcome him here today. Attorney Rule.
Well, that was a tough act to follow. Congratulations to all the new alumni. Let's hear it, come on. Now, I'm going to be the non-serious speaker today. I just want to say that all of you have worked so hard and you're so determined and forthright and ready to attack the world, and that's awesome. Remember to take care of yourself out there, okay? And have some fun doing this job, helping people, helping yourselves, helping your families. You are also now members of the Alumni Association for free. Congratulations. And we all hope to see you back here many, many, many times to socialize with each other again and with fellow graduates of the school. So once again, on behalf of the Law School Alumni Association, congratulations, and go get 'em.
Thank you, Attorney Rule, for your leadership of the Alumni Association and for your support of our graduates in law school. We greatly appreciate it. Graduates, it is evident that you care very deeply about your law school, and I hope that continues now that you have transitioned from being students to being alumni. Please stay involved and help support other students as they pursue their law degrees, just as others have helped you pursue yours. As many of you are aware, UConn Law has been celebrating its centennial this year, marking 100 years of progress, excellence, and impact. You all are an important part of that legacy, and all of us are incredibly proud of you and wish you much success and happiness throughout your career. Thank you.
The ceremony will conclude with the recessional of the platform party, faculty, administrators, and law school graduates. Will members of the audience please remain in their seats until all graduates have recessed and the musicians have finished playing. And as Attorney Rule has mentioned, please join members of the University of Connecticut Law School Alumni Association for refreshments in front of Cheryl Chase Hall. Thank you for joining us for this celebration. Please join me in thanking Deb King, our events and program manager, who organized this beautiful and complex event, and to all the staff who assisted her, particularly Finance Director Donna Gianfrido and members of the Facilities and Communications staff. On behalf of the staff, faculty, trustees, and administration of the University of Connecticut and the School of Law, we offer all of our graduating students our warmest congratulations, and we wish them, their families, and friends a wonderful afternoon.